A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Newsfirst Weekend, coming to you live from our Newsfirst Centre in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
All sections of the population will be treated equally within a unitary state. A statement from President Maithripala Sirisena. Former Maldivian President Mohammad Nasheed arrested. Former Minister Malvina Walters' wife arrested on charge of improperly obtaining a diplomatic passport. A postscript from Dasiri Jayasekara on the UPFA's defeat. Sri Lanka defeat Afghanistan by 4 wickets at the 2015 Cricket World Cup.
And now the stories in detail. The wife of former Minister Malvina Walters has been arrested. Police media spokesperson Mrs. Beati Krohan said that she was arrested on the charge of improperly obtaining a diplomatic passport. She was arrested this evening at a private hospital in Malawi.
Ex-Minister Malvina Walters' wife, Ranasinghe Ramdinu Mudyanselage Sirja Udayanti alias Shehata Udayanti, has been arrested by CID at 7 o'clock in the evening at a private hospital in Malawi. Further investigations are being continued and the facts will be reported to the courts, and accordingly she will be examined by a judicial medical officer. Thereafter further action will be taken against her.
Now, earlier today, the National Freedom Front claimed that allegations against the wife of Malvina Walters has been brought to the forefront following the rally in Nugegada. However, the police state that these are two separate incidents and that there is no relation between the two.
The
rally in Nugegada on the 18th was extremely successful. That same evening, the CID came to the office in Battaramulla. The wife will not be in the office. Then they went to the house and there they met her. She was not well. Therefore, she requested to give a statement while at home, and then once she is better, she would come to the CID for a statement.
CID did not carry out any investigation on the evening of the Nugegada rally. This is not true. However, investigation officers of the CID have gone to various locations for investigation purposes of this case. However, such an incident did not take place on the evening of the rally.
Later, her sickness intensified and she was hospitalized. There too, she had informed them via her lawyer that she is in hospital, and if they want a statement, they may come to the hospital, and once her treatments are over, she would report to the CID and make a statement.
The investigation into the complaint that falsified documents were used to secure a diplomatic passport has revealed that forged documents had indeed been used. Thereby, the CID hopes to initiate legal action in the near future.
Now, speaking at an event held in Kadruwela, Pulanarua today, President Maithripala Sirisena made a statement on ensuring equal treatment for all sections of society.
President Maithripala Sirisena attended a religious function at a mosque in Kadruwela today.
Before the election, we talked about building an environment where all sections of the society can live in one Sri Lanka while maintaining coexistence, reconciliation and fraternity. We are committed to building a country where all can exercise their right to live in the country freely and peacefully, irrespective of what language one talks or what religion they believe in.
Taking a look at our developing story for tonight, the Maldives Police Service arrested former President and opposition leader Mohammad Nasheed today on terrorism allegations. The police had arrested him with a warrant from the criminal court.
According to the warrant, the police had been ordered to arrest the opposition leader in order to give him no opportunity to flee before trial. He has now been taken to the prison facility in Dunidu Island. He was arrested on terrorism allegations for having arrested and detained Abdullah Ghazi, the chief judge of the criminal court, during his administration. Nasheed's arrest has sparked protests. His supporters, who gathered near his home where he was arrested, had clashed with the police. These images, provided by the Maldives Democratic Party, or MDP, cannot be independently verified. Ahmed Naseem, former Maldives foreign minister and senior member of Nasheed's Maldives Democratic Party, spoke to News First regarding the arrest.
We are completely shocked. Arbitrary arrest of President Mohammed Nasheed. Arrest warrant actually stated that he may not attend the court. That is why the arrest is necessary. And they have scheduled a court case on terrorism charges for 4 o'clock tomorrow in the afternoon. So the problem here is that there is going to be a massive demonstration on the 27th of this month. I think and I believe that the government is trying to prevent this from happening. Today, during the arrest of all these people, pepper spray was used. There are people with guns, the military, and pepper spray was used. People were beaten up. Our chairperson was beaten up so badly he's in hospital at the moment. For a lot of people living in Maldives, it's absolute hell because we don't know when we will get arrested. We don't know when we are going to be tortured. We don't know when we are going to be beaten up on the streets.
On the 30th of January, in an exclusive interview with News First, Mohammed Nasheed spoke about the current political climate in his country.
What is the current political landscape in the Maldives right now?
That President Yamin has lost the confidence of the alliance that he came into government with. The Jumhuri Party leader Qasim has left the coalition. Also, the Conservative Adalat Party has left the coalition. Now, this puts President Yamin into a very difficult position. Both these parties have come up to the Maldivian Democratic Party, our party, to form a parliamentary alliance to bring the government, to make the government more accountable.
In the October 2008 presidential election, Nasheed, as the candidate of an opposition coalition, defeated President Abdul Gayoom, who had held the office for 30 years since 1978, in the second round, assuming office on the 11th of November 2008. Abdul Gayoom served an unprecedented 6 terms and ran unopposed for all 6 terms. Gayoom had been criticized by opposition parties and opposition media as a dictator, with his rule described as autocratic. He also had been accused of nepotism due to the fact that several family members, in-laws and close relatives had been granted high posts in his government and cabinet. On the 7th of February 2012, Mohammed Nasheed resigned in front of local media from his presidency under disputed circumstances, following weeks of protests by the opposition, which had then been joined by a majority of military and police forces. The next day, Nasheed stated that these protesters had joined with quote-unquote powerful networks of Gayoom loyalists to force his resignation in a coup, and that he was forced to resign at gunpoint by police and army officers. The current president of the Maldives, Abdullah Yamin, is the younger half-brother of Abdul Gayoom. The 2013 presidential elections were held in the Maldives under a 2-round system. The result of the initial vote, held on the 7th of September 2013, was annulled by the Supreme Court, and the election was rerun on the 9th of November. As no candidate achieved majority support, another runoff election, delayed by the Supreme Court decree, was held on the 16th of November, and Abdullah Yamin was elected president, defeating the popular Mohammed Nasheed.
While there has been no final announcement regarding a parliamentary election, political parties are gearing up for this eventuality. Addressing a meeting in Karandania yesterday on preparing for the election, Western Provincial Councillor Uday Gammanpilla had this to say.
The next parliamentary election will be a triangular contest. The anti-government vote will split into 2. The UNP will emerge victorious. It is a means to weaken the alliance. We call on alliance leaders not to fall for this ploy. We have an absolute majority in parliament. We hold power in 8 of the 9 provincial councils. We hold power in the absolute majority of local councils. If we are unable to win a parliamentary election in spite of all that, we will have to make up our minds to be in opposition for 20 years.
Gammanpilla also commented on the recent rally in Nugegoda.
I will tell you a secret today. Mahinda Rajapaksa was not going to come there. He was not going to make a statement. But when he saw the crowd, he felt he should send a statement. It is not enough for the people and Mahinda Rajapaksa to be willing. The leaders of the alliance should be willing. That is why we showed the leaders of the alliance what the people's aspiration was. Now we wait. We have sent the message and are waiting to see if it has been heard. So far, it appears not.
Now, speaking to Newsfirst this evening, the mayor of Kaduwala G.H. Puttadasa had this to say on the arrest of the wife of former Minister Malvina Walters.
It will not do to arrest his wife alone. Malvina Walters too must be arrested on the charge of aiding and abetting. I have all the information with me. I can state with responsibility that there is a letter that has been typed on the letterhead of Malvina Walters at the Department of Immigration and Immigration.
Justicar, the Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, says the UPFA must correct its past mistakes. Now, speaking at an event held in Hettipola yesterday, Justicar had this to say.
What happened to us? How do we rectify it? These have become major questions. Some of our ministers tied up some of the officials to trees. The law was not enforced. They went in broad daylight and attacked institutions like Sirasa. No one has been held accountable for that. The law had gone to the dogs. You know that Rishad Batiuddin pelted stones at the court. Shirani Bandaranaike became the Chief Justice, whilst the other Chief Justice was in office, and the country had two Chief Justices on the same day. Look at how the situation has worsened in order to cover up a mistake that was made. We did this. Our government did this. We introduced the constitutional amendment allowing a president to run for 3 terms. It was a mistake to extend it to 3 terms. We are facing the consequences of that mistake now.
An interesting debate took place on the Satana political program telecast on our sister channel Sirsa TV last night regarding bringing persons in the former government who were involved in corruption before the law.
Sajin Vas Gunawardena has made a payment for the chopper after your government came into power after you assumed duties. He has paid about 10 or 15 million. There is no problem there. But not even Inland Revenue is asking where this money has come from. An MP who makes 54,000 a month paid out 10 million last week. What is the meaning of this?
MP Ranga, I will explain it to you. When I took over the aviation ministry, Sajin Vas Gunawardena had handed over 2 checks, one for 19 million and another for 1 million. He has to pay a sum of 27 million. We accepted that because if we did not take that check, we would not get the money. So we put this check in the bank and have received the money. Yes, we have the check. Now we can give it to the relevant institutions. I cannot go and imprison MP Sajin Vas.
No, you shouldn't do it. But you haven't taken any steps regarding where this money came from. Everyone is saying it is good governance and they are doing nothing, so the law will be enforced. The previous government did the same thing.
We received the check and we kept it so we could pose a legal question. But we realized that we would only know if this was really his money if we deposited the check. So we have done that, and now the Bribery Commission or Inland Revenue can investigate the facts. They are collating all of this now.
But this is not coming out through the media. They are making payments and people are asking if they are striking deals after meeting with certain persons.
In the case of some investigations, we cannot come and speak about it before the media. We must only speak of it when we have them by the neck. If we were to reveal certain things, these people would set up a system to save themselves. They are wealthy people and therefore we must continue with these investigations carefully.
I thought it was 10 million, but it is 20 million. That is double. A normal MP receives 5 million a year to spend on the people, but he has paid 20 million. On the other hand, a lot of these projects have been given without a tender procedure. The minister is aware of the $84 million quotation that was given by one company for the runway, but the name of that company is not known. Then the people begin to suspect if this government has also aligned itself with those business people. Can you tell us if it is just? Is it just to build the runway for 84 million?
හේතු වෙලාද දැන් ඔබතුමා හරි කියන්න අපිට ඒක සාධාරණද 84 million dollars ට ඒ රන්වේ හදන එක සාධාරණද
නෑ රංග මට මම ඇත්තටම මම කියන්න මේක පටන් ගන්නකොට 154 154ක තිබිලා
ඒකට පස්සේ 84ට ආවිලා තියෙනවා
94කට ආවිලා තියෙනවා
ඒකට පස්සේ 84ට අස්සම් කරලා තියෙනවා
නෑ 94කට තමයි දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ සෑහීමකටපත් වෙලා 94කට නමුත් අපි දැනට ඒක නැවතුවා.
එනයි නැවතුවේ.
නැවතුවේ ඒක වැඩි කියලා අපිට තේරිච්ච ගත හින්දා.
We stopped it because we felt it was too much. The other matter is the unsolicited tender proposal. A single individual has submitted the tender and it has been approved and passed by cabinet and they are trying to give the tender to them. We stopped it because we realized the immense cost. It was a government that had legalized thievery.
හොරකම නීතිගත කරපු ආණ්ඩුවක් තිබුණේ. ඒ කියන්නේ
අන්සල් රාජ්‍ය වෙනසුනේ. ඒක රාජ්‍ය වෙනසුනේ.
ඉතින් ඒකින්ද තමයි අපි හරි විදියට කරන්නේ. දැන් මට
නෑ හරි විදියට කරන එකක්. නමුත් හොරකම් කරපු කටිය ජනතාවට එලි කරන එක තව එකක්.
ඉතින් එලි කරන්න රංගා මේක ඉවර වෙන්න එපා.
A majority of members of the Lanka Samsamaja party explained how the party would function with the prevailing politics at a summit in Colombo today.
The Samsamaja summit, which was titled Joint to Abolish the Executive, was held at the new town hall in Colombo. The event saw the participation of a number of representatives of leftist parties and the convener of the People's Movement for a Just Society, Venerable Madhuluave Sobidatero.
We supported the common candidate Maithripala Sirisena on the principles of the Samsamaja. At this point, what did our official leader do? They said this was an international conspiracy. We felt the minor tremor beneath the surface. But leaders like Tissavitarana and Padmasiri were not able to feel these minor tremors in the political ground. Why were they not able to feel this? This was because their feet were not on the ground. Those former leaders are with legs on either sides now. On one side, they go begging for the seats to Sirisena. Thinking that it is better to have a foot on both sides, YG Padmasiri attended the meeting in Nugegoda.
Now, speaking at a meeting of UNP activists in Kurunegala this evening, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe made a scathing criticism of sections of the print media.
They are opposed to this and we are now trying to use the print media to create communalism. Several Sinhala papers had reported that terrorism was re-emerging and that everything is being divided. These are the people who went to town for Mahinda Rajapaksa. The editors and journalists of some of these newspapers had positions in both the government and the publication. If they are trying to pull up communalism, then we are prepared to respond. There are several examples. Anura Solomons was a presidential advisor. He is the editor of Divina. I say that he should now beg for forgiveness from his colleagues in journalism and stop pulling out communalism. We are examining the Divina newspaper. All those who engage in communalism will be removed from the stock exchange. Go and work for Mahinda Rajapaksa. Please do not work for us. I beg you. They cannot pull out communalism. Next week, I will call up the owners and editors of print media. There is a complaint that I was threatened, so I will call up all of them, including Sunil Jayasekara from the Free Media Movement. Let them say what they have to say. I will call up those in the Human Rights Commission too. I will call the Mahasangha there too, if they need it.
R. Sampadan, the TNAs parliamentary group leader, says that the current constitutional arrangements in the country do not accommodate the aspirations of a pluralistic society. Sampadan made the statement at a conference held in Colombo yesterday.
But we need to see how things will move as we go along. But the main problem that this country has been confronted with is the independence. Unfortunately, it has not been addressed either before the 100-day program or during the 100-day program, and there is no program that addresses it even after the 100 days. The constitutional arrangements that we have in this country now do not accommodate the aspirations of this pluralistic society None of these problems that we are confronted today will ever be satisfactorily resolved unless this fundamental question, which has afflicted the country from independence, is addressed and solved in an honourable way.
So I hope this 100-day program that has been inaugurated in our country for the benefit of the people and for the improvement of the society will be successful. I hope so because we ourselves are answerable to this 100-day program. Because within this 100 days that there is a doubt as to whether the program enunciated in this 100-day program can be implemented. Therefore, we are going to propose at the official of May the 7th that more time may be taken beyond 100 days so that those undertaking also be fulfilled. If the time that is available is not adequate, they might take further time for which the SLF is prepared to act.
Also speaking at the event, the State Minister of Children's Affairs, Rosie Senanayake, commented on female representation.
And the question that comes from our party leaders is, where are the women? How are we going to fill this 25% or 30%? In the 100-day program, there are certain elements, constitutional changes and amendments that would come in order to bring in women at the local level, at the local council level. 25% is a must, and we are looking at the changes right now. And also immediate needs of the general public, which is, I would say, out of the immediate needs of 100 needs that we have outlined, I would say 35% of that are women-related issues.
Still to come on the news tonight. Sri Lanka scraped through to a 4-wicket win over Afghanistan. All reaction coming up on Sports First. An individual was killed after being struck by a high-voltage electric cable while at a party at a house in Rajagiriya. An 11-year-old child who is in serious condition is receiving treatment at the ICU of the Colombo National Hospital.
මම ඉන්නේ නිවසක දෙවෙනි මහලේ. ඒ කියන්නේ පොළොව මට්ටමේ ඉඳන් ගත්තොත් එහෙම අඩි 15ක් පමණ උස වූ භූමිය.
This is the second floor of a house. That means about 15 feet from above the ground level. You can see a high voltage cable that runs above these houses. It runs on the level of the roof. An individual was killed last afternoon when a high voltage cable touched him. From where I am, you must be able to see a high voltage cable that is close by. If I raise my hand, it may touch the high voltage cable.
විදුලි රැහනක් මේ අසලින්ම ගමන් කරනවා. මගේ අත ඉස්සුවොත් එහෙම බොහෝ විට මගේ අත ඒ විදුලි රැහන් වල දැවටීමේ ඉඩ කඩ තිබෙනවා.
This house is situated in Nuvesekarapura, Rajagiriya. A birthday party was held here last afternoon. An 11-year-old child had climbed to the second floor of the house in order to close the tap of the overflowing tank. However, a high voltage cable that was very low had touched the child.
Suddenly there was a noise. Then my brother had gone up to see what the sound was. Then he had seen the child burning.
A 56-year-old man who heard the sound had gone to the second floor, had seen the child and had attempted to save him, but he too was electrocuted.
ඔබට පැහැදිලිව පේනවා ඇති මේ විදුලි රැහන් මොනතරම් පහතින්ද ගමන් කරන්න කියලා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ භූමියේ
The high voltage cable runs about 5 feet above the second floor of the house. Not only an adult, even a child runs the risk of being electrocuted.
පුජ්‍යලෙකුට විතරක් නෙවෙයි. මේ ස්ථානයේ තියෙන කුඩා දරුවෙකුටුනත් මේ විදුලි සැර වැදීමේ අවදානම තියෙනවා.
When such a dangerous situation prevails, who granted permission for a house to be built at such a location?
Our fathers and grandfathers were born in these villages. We have been living in these villages. As long as we lived here, these cables too existed. However, since of late, these cables have been coming. They put the slab for the house when the cables were about 20 feet above. Then there was no problem in moving about. Eventually the cables loosened and started to come down, but no one did anything.
They passed these plans, and that is why houses are being built. Why didn't they take any action when they passed these plans? The CEB must take action. These people have informed authorities and filed petitions, but no one has taken any action. If the area residents had informed authorities, then the CEB has been responsible in taking a life and endangering the life of another. Anyone can see the manner in which high voltage cables run adjacent to many houses. As a result, residents of these houses must live with the fear of death hanging over them. Will the CEB take action even after this? When contacted by News First, CEB officials said that the problem had been prevailing for quite some time, and due to illegal constructions, they are finding it difficult to resolve it.
Now, with the closure of the Dimbulana District Hospital in Badula, residents of many villages are greatly inconvenienced.
This district hospital, which comes under the purview of the Uvaparnagama Divisional Secretariat, was closed down following a landslide threat issued by the Badula District Disaster Management Unit. Even though it has been 4 months since the closure, there is no sign of landslide research being carried out. Area residents point out that due to this, over 40,000 people in several areas including Gampaha, Korale, Maspanna and Dimbulana areas have been inconvenienced.
We have to travel about 50 to 60 miles to reach a hospital.
Though the hospital was closed down due to the threat of landslides, the residents of houses near the hospital are still living in their houses. Since the investigations were not carried out at the speed of the closure of the hospital, the people have lost the only place they had to take treatment and medicine. We directed this matter to the Minister of Health and Indigenous Medicine of the Uva province.
We have decided that within 2 weeks, members of the NBRO along with experts will be carrying out investigations in the location. If they say that there won't be a serious problem, then we can commence the work temporarily. Then we will be commencing the work for the OPD unit.
Eslon Lanka Private Limited, which is owned by the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited, was presented with an award at a function held in Colombo yesterday.
The Justicar 2014 awards ceremony was organised by the Japan-Sri Lanka Technical and Cultural Association. The award ceremony was held under the auspices of Ambassador of Japan for Sri Lanka, Nobuhito Hobo. At the ceremony, the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited owned Eslon Lanka Private Limited received the 5S Productivity Award. The implementation of productivity within the organisation was commended at the ceremony. The award was received by S.C. Veerasekara, Group Director at the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited.
Japan, as a long-standing friend of Sri Lanka, is always in the forefront in supporting human resource development and upgrading the business landscape in Sri Lanka.
The Department of Motor Traffic says that the registration of vehicles for January has increased by about 90% compared to January last year.
The number of vehicles registered in the country in January this year stood at 50,000. Commissioner of the Department of Motor Traffic says that the number of motorbikes that were registered in the month of January was 30,000, while the number of three-wheelers that were registered was 8,000. The department points out that the tax reduction on smaller vehicles and the increase of living standards of the public could be identified as one of the main reasons for this increase.
Former Minister Imtiaz Bakir Marker called on the chief prelates in Kandy yesterday.
The former minister presented copies of the book Hitumata, authored by him, to the chief prelates on this occasion.
I will never retire from politics. For about 50 years, the people of Berwala have voted for the father and then the son. So the new learned generation will question if they should always be voting for the father and son and whether they will ever be allowed to raise their heads. I told them that I have stopped contesting elections and given an opportunity for someone from among you to rise to the occasion. I am still in politics. I have principles that I accepted. I will take the opportunities that I receive through this and render the maximum service that I can.
The 36th Newsfirst Report workshop was held in Vavuniya today.
A large number of aspiring citizen journalists attended the workshop that was held at the main auditorium of the Vavuniya Tamil Central College. The Newsfirst resource personnel shared their expertise with the participants on news reporting and new technology and also educated them on the role of citizen journalists. Participants at the workshop were also registered as Newsfirst U reporters. This was a very important workshop. I believe that through this we will be able to report on emergency situations in our localities and obtain solutions.
I came here today because of the need to highlight the problems faced by our society to the rest of humanity.
The Leadership Day event at the Sri Dharmashrama Dhamma School in Vanathamulla, Colombo was held under the auspices of Western Provincial Councillor Jayantha Silva.
Badges were pinned on the new student leaders of the Dhamma school at this event.
Some people ascribe little importance to the role of student leaders. This is not the case. Student leadership is something that breeds the next generation of leaders for our country. I will give you some advice. Become a tree. Do not become a vine. When you are a vine, you will collapse with the tree if it's cut down. You will never move forward since you will be stuck to the tree.
The Police Special Task Force raided a major-scale cannabis cultivation in the Kabilita Reserve today. 10 suspects have also been arrested.
The Police Special Task Force commenced an operation to locate and raid cannabis cultivations in the Kabilita Reserve from Panagama to Kotiyagala in Monragala on the 17th of this month. The STF was able to locate and destroy 2 cultivations of cannabis of 3 acres each in the operation that was carried out for 5 days. According to the STF, a major racketeer responsible for the distribution of cannabis in the Kataragama and the Tissa Maharama area has also been arrested. The initial investigation revealed that the suspect is a former police officer. 600 kilograms of dried cannabis and 155 kilograms of packed cannabis has been seized by the STF. 4 weapons and 2 motorbikes belonging to the suspects, which were seized by the STF, have been handed over to the Atimale police.
Moving on to sports news now, Mahela Jayawardena says that there is room for improvement for the Sri Lanka team going further into the World Cup. He made this statement at the post-match media briefing following Sri Lanka's 4-wicket victory over Afghanistan.
Winning the toss today, Sri Lanka elected to field first. Afghanistan lost their first 2 wickets within 40 runs. The innings was given substance by a 3rd wicket stand of 88 between Askar Stanikzai and Shenbari, and at 128 for 2 in the 28th over, a total of 250 plus was certainly within reach. But after Stanikzai's run-a-ball half-century ended, no one was able to take up the mantle and the last 8 wickets fell for 104. Lasith Malinga and skipper Angelo Matthews both finished with figures of 3 for 41. Afghanistan were bowled out for 232 runs in 49.4 overs. Sri Lanka got off to a very shaky start, losing both openers for ducks. Lahiru Thirimanne was trapped in front on the first ball of the innings and TM Dilshan followed him back to the dugout with no score. Kumar Sangakkara too was dismissed early for 7 runs. Sri Lanka lost their first 4 wickets within 51 runs. Mahela Jayawardena passed the 1,000 World Cup runs mark today. He and skipper Angelo Matthews put on a 5th wicket stand of 126. Matthews was dismissed for 44 while Jayawardena made his 19th ODI century. Jeevan Mendis and Thisara Pereira took Sri Lanka over the line with a 58-run 7th wicket partnership. Sri Lanka reached the target with 10 balls to spare and 4 wickets in hand.
He gets it fine. He'll get a single. That is Zazai Shapur is left at 1 not out after 1 ball. Class. Yeah, class act. Mahela Jayawardena. Real act
that they didn't finish strong, Afghanistan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good to play a good game of cricket. It doesn't matter who we play against. I think once you're pushed, you mentally you need to be much more stronger as a unit, and that's what we showed today. It'll be good for us going into the tournament. We know if we are in a similar situation, how we need to handle that. But the good thing is there's a lot of room for improvement, so if we can keep working at it get everything right, be great.
Meanwhile, amid a sea of support at the MCG in Melbourne today, India rode to a 130-run win over South Africa.
India's foundation was laid by a strong batting performance which featured a 137-run century from Shikhar Dhawan. Dhawan and Ajinkya Rahane teamed up for the third wicket following the dismissals of Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli and put India on a strong footing. Rahane went on to score 79 runs off 60 deliveries. India went on to score 307 for the loss of 7 wickets in their 50 overs. The Proteas, notorious for choking in World Cups, did not deliver in the batting department today. They lost wickets at regular intervals and at times in quick succession and never looked in control. Faf du Plessis was the standout performer with 55 runs. The Proteas were bundled out for 177 in the 41st over.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.